Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be going over my top favorite foundations. Now these are foundations that I'm currently and have been using for a pretty good amount of time. Nothing is totally brand new to me. It may be a couple months, but nothing like I just found last week. So I've been using them for a while. They're ones I always reach for. Now I'm the type of person that likes to switch up my makeup game. I like to use a foundation for a couple days, a week or so, and then I like to switch it up with something else. Really quick disclaimer, these foundations work great for me, but I'm not promising that they're gonna work great for everybody else. I have pretty normal skin. Sometimes I may get a little oily in the summertime, a teensy bit dry in the wintertime, but nothing too crazy. Like I said, usually I'm pretty normal. So I can use dewy foundations, and then I can also use matte foundations without it giving me any type of crazy results. So some of these are on the dewy side and some are on the matte side. Some are just more satin. Just wanted to make sure that you know that if you do try out one of these foundations and it doesn't work for you, I'm sorry, but these work for me, so I'm not promising they're gonna work for you by any means. So all these foundations that I talk about today, they all have great lasting ability. They don't sink into my smile lines as bad as other foundations that I've tried. Those are the two main things that are just must-haves when I pick a foundation. It can't do those things. It's just a couple of little facts about all these foundations. You might hear me talking about, you know, those things when I'm describing each one. I love wearing foundation just because I love how it smooths out the skin. I love how just flawless your skin looks. I love how foundation can cover, you know, little problem areas. If you have like a little pimple pop up, or if you've got issues with acne and texture and stuff like that, foundations are just, I don't know, my way to go right now. I've got some drugstore, and then I've also got some high end. So it's a good mixture in here. Make sure you please subscribe to my channel down below. Just click that red button. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it, and let's jump right into my favorites. Okay, so the first one I want to talk about is one that I have been using the longest. This is a drugstore foundation. This is the Maybelline Dream Cushion. It comes in a little compact like this. You open it, it does have a mirror, and then it's got one more opening to it. And it just kind of looks like that. This, I would definitely say, is more on the satin to almost dewy finish. I would not call this a straight up just like dewy foundation. It's more borderline dewy. So I love, love, love. This is what I actually have on today. I love the finish that this gives. It's just like that fresh face, beautiful, natural finish of a foundation. It's not too heavy. I would say it gives you more of a light to medium finish. It's not full coverage. You can build it up a little bit, but I don't think you could really build it up much to full coverage. I don't know. I've never really tried it. If you don't have any crazy breakouts or texture on your skin, definitely try this out. If you're more on the oily side, I don't know. I mean, it's cheap, so if you try it and it don't work out for you, then at least you didn't spend too much money, but get you a good mattifying primer to go with this. But what I usually use with this is my Morphe M439 kabuki brush. And then I just kind of, you know, press it in there and just buff it all over my skin. I never really use a sponge with this foundation, which is crazy because I always use sponges, like always. But with this foundation, I always use my foundation brush. I'll say there's two cons to this particular foundation. One being the shade range. I have shades 20, 30, and 40 from when I'm light to tan. But I don't think the shade range is all that great in this. So that's, you know, definitely a con. The other thing that I find with this foundation, I go through it pretty quickly. It just seems like it doesn't last as long as, you know, like a bottle of foundation would. That is another thing to keep in mind, but it's only like $11, I want to say, depending on where you get it, whether Walmart, Target, CVS. Definitely this will last me quite a while since I do change up my foundations quite a bit, but if you're using this on a daily, depending on how much you pack on, you might go through this pretty quickly, so just keep that in mind. But love this foundation, and it's a great starter foundation. If you're not used to wearing foundations and you don't want nothing heavy, definitely give this a try. It feels amazing on the skin. The next foundation I want to talk about is a stick foundation. Hourglass Vanishing. I know it's a longer name. Hourglass Vanishing something, something, something foundation. Absolutely amazing. You can definitely get some full coverage from this little stick right here. And I loved how easy it was applying. Kind of has this little triangle shape. And I feel like a little bit goes a long way with this stuff. Like I said, it's definitely medium to full coverage. It gives you that nice kind of satin to more mattifying finish, I would say, with this stuff. It'll definitely last you all day. It looks great in pictures. It is on the higher side. I'll put a price right here, how much it costs, but I want to say I spent maybe around 40 bucks on it. This is one that I definitely will use when I want that full coverage, when I want that lasting effect, when I'm going somewhere special and I'm going to be taking lots of pictures or whatever, I know this will look great. So this is another one that I've been using for quite a while. I want to say probably over a year, year and a half. I think, I usually with this stick, I apply like maybe 2-3 stripes on each cheek down the nose, 2 stripes on the forehead and the chin, and I love to bring it down my neck always, and it's just so easy to use. It's very easy to blend out. You're not going to sit there and take forever to buff out those little lines. This just smooths out very, very easily, so I love this stuff. Okay, my next foundation I'm going to be talking about is another full coverage foundation. I did a review on this foundation. If you want to see my review, I will link it right up here. You can click it. But this is the Maybelline 24-Hour Superstay Full Coverage Foundation. When this came out, it was very, very popular on YouTube with all the beauty gurus out there that like to review. Everybody was talking about this stuff, so I had to get my hands on it. And when I did, oh my gosh, it did not disappoint. This is Drugstore, but it performs just like a high-end foundation. It lasts just as good as any of these other foundations that are high-end that I'm going to be talking about. I think this is around $10 to $12. The price range is very, very low. It's very buildable. I don't ever have to build this up very much because it just gives you just instant coverage. Like, it can get pretty thick, so you got to be careful. When you first put it on, don't go crazy, like just squirt out 1 pump. And then I will say with this one, it does dry pretty quick. It is a drugstore foundation, so it will kind of oxidize a little bit. I find with most drugstore foundations, they oxidize. That's just, I don't know, that's I guess the price you pay when you're not paying a lot for a foundation. This will oxidize, so I think I usually wear like classic ivory when I've got like a decent tan, not when I'm like super tan, but when I'm just not super pale. When I'm super pale, I've got to use porcelain, or I think there's one more down that I use, or sometimes I mix porcelain and classic ivory to get my perfect shade. Some people don't like mixing shades to get that, but you know, when it's only $10, $11 and you can get 2 foundations, then it's a pretty good deal, I think. I can get at least 8 to 10 hours wear of this. It does really good when you're, you know, on the go, if you're out sweating, if you're going to an event and you might go dancing, or you're just going to be perspiring a little bit. This will hang on. It doesn't feel cakey on the skin. That's why I really love this. I use a beauty blender when I blend this out, or not really a beauty blender because I don't use beauty blenders. I use my, you know, like Maybelline sponges or my Morphe sponges or something like that. But I blend that out, and like I said, it does dry pretty quickly. So I usually start with just like the lower half of my face on each cheek, and I dot it on my skin, and then I move to my forehead and then blend it all out. I don't know what else I can say about this foundation other than it's amazing. It's gonna last you all day long. If you're super oily, definitely give this a try. I know drugstore foundations with oily skin are really hard to pair up, but I love this stuff. Use you a mattifying primer, use this, set it with a powder if you're on the super, super oily side, and this will lock your foundation in place all day long. I don't really have to powder much because it kind of dries down to just that, you know, nice finish to where it's not tacky, and I love it. I will continue using this for a long, long time, and I have it in 3 or 4 different shades just in case because I love it so much. I'm just going to continue with the drugstore foundations. This one is Colourpop's foundation that they just came out with, their no filter foundation. I really, really like this stuff, you guys. I did do a review on this. Again, I will link it down here and also in the description if you want to go and watch that. But I really love this foundation. It lasts on my skin all day long. I definitely think you can build this up to full coverage. I would say just 1 or 2 layers is more of a medium. I usually don't ever wear more than 1.5 layer of a foundation just because I'm not crazy with texture or acne or anything like that, but it's very buildable. It's got a beautiful finish. Comparing it to the Maybelline Superstay, this finish is definitely more matte. This one gives you like that soft matte. It's still going to kind of have a nice skin-like finish to it, I feel like, with this. I have this in 3 different shades. I believe this is $12. I'm not sure. Again, I will put the price here. I will put every single foundation I'm talking about down below in the description. Just click that little thing and it'll bring it all up. It'll take you to the website. If you go to look up reviews on this, you're gonna find a very big mix where some people just absolutely hate this stuff and some people absolutely love this stuff. Oily skin girls love it. Girls who aren't oily hated it. I don't know. It's just kind of a mix, but it works great for me. The only thing I will say about this foundation is it does oxidize just a little bit. And one thing I really, really love about this foundation is it doesn't settle too crazy in my smile line. And that is a big important thing for me when choosing foundations. If a foundation, like within 20 minutes of putting it on, if it's like crazy settled right in here, I will throw it out. I don't want to use it. It's just one thing that really, really bothers me. I don't get fillers, so I'm going to have that happen. Now, I'm not going to say like a foundation is not going to crease after 8 hours, because that's not really thinking realistically. I know a foundation is going to crease after a certain amount of time. If it's creasing within less than an hour, I mean, no. So this foundation definitely does not do that, which I absolutely love. It's got a really pretty finish. It's $12. It's from one of my favorite companies, Colourpop. So, you know, I had to include this because I really love it. I use it all the time. And the last drugstore foundation I want to talk about is from LA Girl. They just released this not long ago, and I love LA Girl. I love the prices of all their stuff. Everything's just always been great for me. I liked their other foundation. Now, the other foundation they came out with, oily girls did not like it. But since this one is a Pro Matte foundation, it is called the Pro Matte HD High Definition Longwear Matte Foundation. I'm sure oily girls will not have much of a problem with this like the other foundation that they had, the one before this that looks kind of like the Make Up Forever foundation. This is in a glass bottle. It looks very high-end. It's got a pump. I think it's only like $8. I got it off Amazon. I got 2 or 3 shades. But this stuff doesn't oxidize. It's one of the very few drugstore price foundations that do not oxidize. A lot of people don't like to buy online because they can't pick their shades. When picking your shades online, I always just go to YouTube, go to Google Images and review the foundation. Type in, you know, LA Girl Pro Matte swatches, and it's gonna bring up all these different girls that get sent the whole collection, and they'll sit there and swatch stuff for you. So I always do that before I go and buy a foundation online, and that's what I did with this one. It gives me more of a medium finish. It looks super great on the skin. It's more of a soft matte. It blends out really, really good with my beauty blender. I'm sure you could use a brush if you're a fan of a brush. I believe this is one of the cheapest foundations that I'm going to be talking about today. $8. Everything else seems to range from the 10 to 12. So definitely check this out. If you're oily, if you're normal, if you're dry, just check it out. It's $8. LA Girl Pro Matte HD Foundation. Now, the two I have left are on the high-end side. First one I want to talk about is the NARS Natural Radiant Longwear Foundation. Love this stuff. I have it in 2 different shades, from when I'm light and when I'm tan. It does a great job lasting all day, and it's not super mattifying. So usually if you want a foundation that's gonna last you all day long, you gotta sometimes go more on the matte side. This one, I mean, it's just more of a satin finish. It's got a really pretty finish to it. It does look more skin-like. I love that it's not a mattifying foundation, and it's gonna give you that lasting ability all day long. Sure, everybody has heard of NARS. They came out with this probably a year ago, maybe 2, I don't know. But it's been a favorite for a long time of mine. If you don't like drugstore foundations just because they do oxidize, or you find that they just don't work well with your skin, definitely give this a try. I really believe that oily skin types could make this work. If you have a good mattifying primer, if you set it with a good powder, I mean, I think this can work on all skin types, which is great. Of course, it has a pump, you know, I have to have that. But anyway, this is on the higher side. This is around $40. I definitely had to include this because I do find myself using this quite often. And the last foundation that I'm going to talk about is one of the most expensive foundations. This is the DIOR Forever Tint. It says it's the perfect makeup, everlasting wear, pore refining effect with sunscreen. It does have SPF 35 in it, which is amazing. It's got a beautiful finish to this. I would say it's more on the satin side. It's not super dewy and it's not mattifying. It lasts really good. I mean, it should last because it's like a $50 foundation. So if I'm gonna be spending that much on it, it better be doing some good stuff. And it definitely does last. It definitely smooths out all my pores right here, I find. I mean, I always use a pore primer, but this one does not like sink into them like some other ones. It does have a really good smell to it. If you're not a fan of smells with your foundation, you may not like this. It's not really overpowering, but I think it smells really good. I don't really know what else I can say about this other than I seen a couple of people talking about this that swore by it. So of course I had to give it a try because I'm not one to always test out high-end foundations like I am drugstore. So when I seen a lot of people talking about this, I was like, okay, I'm gonna splurge, I'm gonna get it, kind of like what I did with the NARS, and it did not disappoint me. I use this a lot I think it was worth the money that I spent because I do use it quite a bit. So the Dior Forever Foundation, that is my last one I want to talk about. So that's pretty much all I want to say about this. I really like it. Do I think you need it? Heck no. I think that you could find something a lot more affordable that works just as good, but you know, I'm a foundation junkie and I really like it, so I had to put it in my collection. But yeah, it's 4 drugstore and only 3 high-end. So the drugstore definitely outweighed the high-end in this video. I buy tons of new foundations like monthly, and these are the ones that I just continue to use the most until I find another foundation that is my favorite. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope I didn't chat too much for you. Let me know down in the comments, what's your favorite foundation? If these worked for you, if you love them, if you hate them. I'd like to hear different people's results with different things. Thank you guys so much for coming back to my channel. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, great week, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.